Hey everybody, this is Michael Bryson and Gregory Ulysse. This is Bodybuilding. How you doing, Greg?
I'm very good, very good.
Awesome. So I want to welcome everybody to the episode. We're going to do a Arnold Classic preview, talking about the Classic Physique division as well as men's open bodybuilding.
Gonna
Big
be a great
show.
It's huge. I mean, it's Olympia season. It's fun.
Yeah, it's crazy. These two shows are following each other just 2 weeks apart. That's never been the case.
Never been
In history of the
never
sport.
Happened.
And both of them, this is an Olympia level competition in a way. Just we don't have Mr. Olympia. We don't have three of the top five from last year who are still competing. Ramy,
Hadi and what's his name? And Brendan.
Yes.
Brendan,
yes, two Mr. Olympias and Hadi Chopin are not there. Phil, of course, I think he's done or at least retired for the time being. But we have from the top five of last year's Mr. Olympia, we have William Bonac, we have Akeem Williams. Those guys are both in the top six.
Yep.
And Ian Valier was seventh.
Yep.
Who was eighth?
If I'm not mistaken, Hunter was eighth.
Oh, okay. Yes. Oh, I thought Akeem was sixth.
Akeem was sixth. Hunter was eighth.
You're right. And then also Justin Rodriguez, I think, was 9, and he's in the show.
Yeah.
So big show there, and big show in Classic Physique. I'm just going to name we'll talk about Classic first. I'll just name the guys that are in it, sort of alphabetically. And there's some really great athletes. Alex Cabanero,
yes,
who won the show last year, correct?
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Yes, he won the show. DeAndre Campbell.
Very good.
I probably mispronounced his name, but he is really impressive.
Very
I'll talk
good.
more about him, his physique, as we go down the line.
Okay.
Jarek Crew, very good poser, great physique on him. Logan Franklin,
yes,
did really, really well at the Texas Pro, placed second. Brian Jones,
yeah.
Fabian Mayer, who last year, I believe, won the Arnold Amateur to turn pro.
Exactly. Yes.
So therefore, he gets the invite to this show. Courage Opara, another
very good
classic guy. Terrence Ruffin, Tony Tavares, and Danny Unen. These are heavy hitters. These guys.
That's a heavy show. That's a heavy show.
So to pick a top five is really difficult in this.
Oh boy,
the winner is really, really difficult.
You know what? Honestly, it's the first prediction show that I'm going. I have absolutely no clue what I'm gonna say or think, but you know what's good? It shows the depth of both classes. That even though we do not have any reigning champion in the lineup is so deep, the show is still good.
Yeah. Well, Alex is the defending champion.
Yes.
If we go down,
but I was saying Olympian.
Oh yes, of course, yes, the Olympia champion.
Olympian. Yeah, okay, yeah. Say that.
And the last Olympia champion. So we have we don't have Sebum, the reigning champion. We don't have Brian, who was the last Mr. Olympia before Chris, but we do have the guy who placed second at last year's Olympia, and the guy he also placed second to Alex at last year's Arnold. Terrence Ruffin. If I was to have to pick a winner, I might pick Terrence Ruffin, just because on paper he's got to be considered the top contender since he was the highest ranked guy at the Olympia last year.
You know what? I would, because it's the Arnold and posing and all that. You know what? I would go with you on that one. But honestly, Terrence needs to. I mean, we've seen pictures of him like on Instagram, like now he's changed coach with because we know what happened with John,
Yeah.
and he's gonna probably regroup. Terrence needs to come in really good because that show is not easy.
No.
This show is not easy. Terrence can win. I mean, Terrence 100% can win the show,
Yeah,
even
it's
though it's
almost
not
like you
going to
could
be.
go down this list and say who
Oh,
can and who can't win because it's
oh,
like,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly. It's going to be, you know what? But if Terrence comes in the way I think he can come in, he's going to win the show. But it's not a shoe.
right. Oh, a name that I left out is Peter Mullener.
Yes, yes, yes. Him, I know him.
Yeah, this guy
Very good, very good.
is. This is going to be
Yeah, very
interesting
good.
because we've never seen him on an IFBB Pro stage with this
No,
level of competition.
no, no.
You know, he was he competed. Was he with Naba? Who was he with before?
No, he compete. You know what? I think he competed last year as an amateur. He won the amateur show, like the overall. He did the pro show, and he won the pro show and got to the Olympia.
Yes, yes. He's been around though in other
A
organizations, I
long
think, for a
time.
while, and he's got a
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
good social media following. He was sort of legendary already before he became an IFBB pro.
Yes,
In
yes,
like
yes.
in a way, it's going to be interesting. So he's got a great physique, very skinny neck. he's got a skinny neck, and his
Yeah,
body
yeah,
is
yeah. Very big guy.
great muscle bellies, great poser. It's going to be interesting to see him next to these guys. But this lineup, you know, I was speaking to Keon
Okay,
Pearson
yes.
when I did an interview with him, I think 3 weeks ago. And you know, Keon was one of the top classic physique guys in the world. Now he's one of the top 212 guys. He was saying, like you and I said this last year, but then Terrence Ruffin kind of proved us wrong, was that he still feels that it's heading towards the tall aesthetic in classic physique. And I don't know if that's true or not, but if it is, there's some tall guys in this show, like Logan Franklin, like Brian Jones, like Tony Tavares. So, but I still think it's always going to be the quality of physique that.
You know what? I believe so. I believe so too. I mean, because classic, the main component is quality physique. Okay, but remember, as Chris Bumstead being the champ, you're gonna have to model the contenders like up to him. You know.
Yeah.
And now the way it looks like, you have a lot of like good. And you know what? Because if you look at it from historically speaking, when they made classic, their idea was the 70s, right? And all that. It was Arnold because he was tall and all that. Okay. So they're going to that now. Now they're getting, you know what, with Chris Bumstead, they have like their blueprint of what they want the classic lights to look like, which is a taller guy and whatever, you know. But Terrence, as I said a long time, you know, you need an opposite. And and Terrence, as good as he is, I think can win the show because in his own way, he's great in a shorter version, you know, and it's not the Olympia.
Right. Yes. I also think that his proportions are still very much in line with like a Bumstead in terms of size of, you know, his proportions low. So it's not like he's short and squatty. He's still got that nice taper and everything. I think if I was to go down the line of this list in alphabetical order, Alex Cabanero, who won last year, I just think that he's going to have his work cut out for him in this show. He's a great bodybuilder, but I'm not sure if he can beat some of these guys. I just don't know. I don't see him.
You know what? Alex is good. But now we have, like I said before, like we have Danny Union and all these guys coming in. And you know what? Here's a good matchup. Him and Danny Union. That's a good matchup right there.
Yeah.
You know? It's a great matchup right there. And I believe Alex, he's gonna make first call out for sure. I think that.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I do too. I do.
He's gonna make first call up, you know. But him winning, we never
It's
know. You know, I'm
It's
telling
also
you,
possible. Yeah,
it's
I just don't
possible.
think
It's
it's a problem.
possible. It's possible, you know. But me, you know, I got the dark horse that we're gonna probably talk to him later on. Is in my book is Brian Jones is the dark horse of the show
Yeah.
because his proportions are pretty insane. If you look
Yeah.
at him, very insane.
He you know, at the Olympia last year, when he was on stage by himself, he looks like Mr. Olympia. You know, he looks like he looked super, super impressive. And he is super impressive. He finished in the top, what was he, top 4 or 5?
He finished fifth.
Yeah. When he was when final comparisons were being done, you saw him next to guys like Bumstead. Yeah, I was like, okay, he's like the best guy on the stage. But by himself, he looked like Mr. Olympia. Now he's not going up against Bumstead this time, and I know he's improved. You know, Keon, who is a big fan of his, said he gets enormous during the off season. He gets really, really big. He's put on a lot of muscle. So I'm sure it's all in the right proportions. Yeah. He's going to be very dangerous. I agree with you that Brian Jones could be the dark horse, and he could. I also think Logan Franklin. There's something about finishing second in a show. He felt he won the Texas Pro. He was there to win it. He believed he was going to win it, and he believed he did win it. It was going to the Olympia, and that didn't happen. Oh, but man. Logan is his mind is there's a lot of guys in this show whose mindsets I kind of know, and Logan is he's determined, you know, he's driven, he's passionate about this, and he's not without the talent. So he's another guy who I think could take the show.
And you know what? Talk about Logan. Logan got beat by something special. Not by anything. He got beat by something that was out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
By Robert Tim that looked like unreal. So I believe also, you know what? Logan also is someone that can surprise. And as you said, he's very driven. He has Milos by his side. He's very driven. He improves. He's been improving all the time. You know what? I see him in the first call out, but the thing is, there's so many guys in that show that can make the first call out. They're not going to make a first call out of 8 people. They can't do that.
How can you? Right. It's crazy.
People. I mean, you can't. I mean, it's crazy, you know? Because I'm telling you, you're talking about Logan, and in the back of my mind, I'm going, what am I doing with Danny Union?
Yeah.
What am I doing with Tony Tavares? These guys are good.
Yes. Now, yeah. I mean, Tony, I know he's also super driven. Now, Tony's already won a show. He's already going to
the Olympia. Yeah.
The Olympia. But a win in this show is to qualify for next year's Olympia.
For next year. And it's the Arnold.
So that is his goal is to be able to do that and have a whole year to improve some more. Tony was very impressive at the Dallas Europa. I was at that show.
Yeah.
He won it like hands down. It was a no question about it show to me. But he was really the biggest name in the show too. So
okay.
It's possible he could win the show. I definitely think he could be the first call out too. This is what's weird. Like I cannot predict the winner or an order of a top 5 or 6 in the show.
It's honestly, you know what? For all the listeners, I dare people to try to make a top 5 out of this. Because you can because you know what? Even being an expert, the guys are so good and they all have something that the other don't. That in the end, it's almost like you have to pick and choose. Because any combination we're going to make makes sense.
Yes.
Any of them.
And Courage is another guy.
And Courage too. He's Courage. You see? Courage or power. The only
he's been top 4 of the Olympia in the past.
Yes. But my thing with Courage was always this. his conditioning is not always on point.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And now in classic, conditioning is important. So I do believe he has the goods if he's 100% to go very far and go very high. But in that show, if you miss it by that much, you're out of it.
Yes.
Because you're now your margin of error is very, very small because there's too many talents on that show.
Yeah.
Too many. So you have to come in 100% because there's too many guys. Too many. You know?
Yeah.
That's the only one. I would go if I had to pick, I'll give you an example. If I had to pick between Danny and him, I would go Danny.
Why would you do that? Well, I'm not really questioning you. I just want to hear what your logic is.
Okay, you know what? Because Danny's condition is always on point.
Mm-hmm.
And courage, even though structurally speaking, the legs and all that is like the roundness is great, but in the end, conditioning plays a big part. And that's the only part he doesn't have. If he does have it, he will probably beat. But if I'm going by history and if I'm going by their past, Danny always comes in on.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, he's very impressive. Danny's very impressive.
Very impressive. And it's always tough. He's always like in your Olympia. He's always 6'7". He's always there.
Yeah, he's very, yes. Mm-hmm.
So that's my reasoning why.
What about, I'm probably mispronouncing his name, DeAndre Campbell.
DeAndre. He was also, at one point, I think he was also trained by John Meadows at one point. Yeah, he was.
He's got a physique that really reminds me of like 70s bodybuilders. Like he's got big arms, I really like his look a lot. I think if he's shredded, he can be dangerous. It's going to be a great show. So I feel like I can't predict any winners other than to say,
well, we had one. We have Terrence. So
I
from what
Terrence,
we talked about,
yes,
it's Terrence. Terrence seems to be ahead a bit because of last year's second place at the Olympia, but he's not so much ahead that people can get to him.
Yeah, I think, and like I said, I think there's any number of guys who have the ability to win the show. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
But Brian, if I had to pick a second place, if I'm having to put people in any order.
Okay, go. Okay, go ahead. I got you.
Okay, this will be, okay, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do it.
Okay, go.
I feel weird about this because.
Okay, no problem. Go ahead.
And I don't know if I'm right or wrong.
It's your show. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to say Terrence Ruffin.
Okay.
Brian Jones.
I like that.
Logan Franklin.
Okay.
Tony Tavares. Go with
okay.
Tony. And Danny Union, if I had to.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
So Alex is not making top 5.
But that's possible. It's possible. I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm talking about here because these guys are also good. But if someone was saying, "Hey, you have to pick," top 5. That's who I'd pick if I had a gun to my head.
Okay,
but
you know what?
Would I be surprised if Alex won the show? I wouldn't be super surprised because he won it before and he's great.
You know what? I'll go with you. I'll go Terrence, Brian Jones.
Yep.
I go Logan 3rd, Cabanero 4th.
Okay. Who's good?
Danny 5th. Nice. Hold on. Tony 5th and Danny 6th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be my top 6 too. I would just have Alex at 6th if I had to put a top 6.
Okay,
we should do top 6 because that's what Arnold does. Arnold like the Olympia. People might not know this. So at the Olympia, the top 5 are what's celebrated right now. That's who goes to the next year's Olympia. But in the past, like in the early 80s and 80s, I don't know when it stopped. It was the top 6 that was always that last call out. Like that was always and they're the big award winners.
Yes, yes.
So Arnold stuck by that. And the top 6 are who get honored at the Arnold Classic. And so that's my top 6 too. I agree with you. I just have a slightly different order. Just being moved out, but to the bottom. But pardon me, who knows? I'm drinking Dr. Pepper. Honestly, sorry, I'm burping on air.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. Diet Dr. Pepper is great. It's a great drink.
So should we move on to bodybuilding?
Oh my God, another headache.
This is a big headache, and so I'll name all the names alphabetically.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a smaller list now, as Cedric and Lionel Bayeki are both out of the show.
Yeah.
Cedric and Lionel, interesting. They're 2 guys who both have that genetic ability to win a show like this. And Cedric has won this show in the past, not against this lineup, but both of those guys sometimes miss their conditioning and fall far short of what they are genetically capable of doing. So it's interesting that they are the 2 that had to pull out this year. But anyway, in alphabetical order, we have the reigning defending 2-time Arnold Classic champion, William Bonac. Big Max Charles.
Yes.
Someone whose name I'm going to mispronounce. Seong Choo Lee.
Yes, yes.
Mohammed El Iman.
Iman, yes, yes.
Steve Kuklo.
Yes.
Hassan Mustafa.
Mm-hmm.
Sergio Oliva Jr.
No.
Justin Rodriguez.
Ouch.
Ian Valier.
Yes.
Nick Walker. Akeem Williams. Wooly Winkler. These are names that are like, these are such amazing bodybuilders. I couldn't get, I'm really sad that I'm not going to be at this year's Arnold. I work a job where I work weekends. And so to get off weekends is difficult. I took off a weekend in August so I could go to the Texas Pro since it was my backyard.
Okay.
Taking off the long weekend for the Olympia. And in November, I have to take off a long weekend for my nephew's wedding in New Jersey. Okay. So September, I had to go, I couldn't do it. So I'm really sad to be missing the show because this lineup is freaking amazing.
Like I was telling you, this lineup is one of the best lineups ever. The depth. And I like what we were saying yesterday, I was telling you, I like the mix of old and new, new talent and all that. And all guys that, that all are, you have established guys like William that's been established. And there's a group of guys that can be guys of the next generation, Right now, if you look at that show, it's, wow. Honestly speaking, I have a winner in mind, but even that I'm not convinced because that show can turn out so many ways.
Yes, I agree.
Because you know what? I'll give you an example. In Texas, everybody has Steve winning, and it did not turn out that way. Okay. What I like about this show, there are no margin of error for nobody. If you guys miss it by 2%, you're gonna finish last.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yes.
Right now, as I see it, oh my God! If I was looking at a winner, a sure bet is William. It's a safe bet, because William has won that show 3 times already. That'll be probably his 3rd time. We don't know. He's a top Olympian. He's the guy, but it's not going to be easy because these young guys are very good.
He's got his work cut out for him. I do think Williams got to be considered the favorite just because he is the champion and he's the highest ranking Olympian.
Absolutely.
He's placed as high as 2nd in the Olympia. This past year, he was 5th.
Fourth.
Fifth. It was really close though between that show. Last year's Olympia was close between all these guys. Yeah, I would say if on paper and his physique at its best is really, really, really hard to beat. William is working on or working with Abdullah from Kuwait.
Yes.
Who famously is Brandon's coach, who has made such amazing improvements in Brandon's physique from the day that they started working together. I think it was 2016 or 2017.
Yes.
I forget, but Brandon just really emerged as one of the top guys in the world.
Absolutely.
With Abdullah's help. William already is one of the top guys in the world. Last year, he was competing without a coach. Actually, since 2019, he was without a coach. And last year, without a coach, he won the Arnold Classic. But I think with this extra set of eyes of Abdullah, he's going to be really hard to beat. Really hard to beat.
You know what? I like what William did. Because last year, like, he did it on his own. But now probably, you know what? Probably, he saw maybe I need somebody to help me out. And he picked a good guy. And Abdullah right now has a great team. He has him, he has Akeem, and he has Brendan.
Yeah.
Yes, a good trio to have. I mean, if William comes in like he did last year, or even the year before when he got second to Brendan.
He was amazing that year.
He was amazing that year.
I had him winning that year just based on, I thought it was super, super close and could have gone either way, but his legs were superior to Brandon's.
Yeah.
I favored William, but yes, that William, if he's on that level,
he wins.
Yes,
he wins because it's like the shape, the size. Even though size, there's a lot of big guys on that show.
Big guys. But he's as big as you can get with that height, I think. Without throwing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
His muscle bellies, his arms are amazing.
His legs, the side shots are sick. The back is sick.
Yeah,
the arms
back
are
double
sick. The back double is crazy. I mean, you know what? If he comes in like that, he's hard to beat.
I agree.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Akeem is also with Abdullah, and Akeem is the second highest ranking Olympian in the show from last year. He placed sixth, top six in the Olympia. He's a guy, and Justin Miller was his former coach who coached him to a win at the Puerto Rico Pro. And Justin has been, he said even before he was his coach, because they train, every now and then he would see him at Bev's training, that Akeem is, he's got what it takes physically to be, Mr. Olympia. If he is shredded at this show, it's gonna be really difficult to beat him too.
You know what? I want to see. I want to see him and what's his name, him and Nick Walker next to each other.
Yeah.
Because now I want to see that. Because you know what? Nick is a big guy, but now you're going against somebody who's a monster and who has proportion, who's genetically has a better structure than Ian. Another way, than Ian, and then Steve, and then Nick.
See, Steve is a guy. Steve Kuklo is another guy who, and I'm going to say this right now.
Go ahead.
If Steve Kuklo wins the Arnold Classic, I will not be in the least bit surprised. At the Texas Pro, at prejudging, I had him winning that show. Steve is massive. He is so big that he makes big guys not look big. And his proportions are such that when you see him alone, you don't realize how big he is. When he's next to other guys and he's so much wider than some of them, it's freaky. He took that loss at that show, which happened really, I can tell you, I was there. I'm a Steve Kuklo friend and fan. I was rooting for him to win. I had him winning at prejudging, but at finals, I watched him lose the show. Ian came on stronger and he faded. But he took that loss hard. in the way that a competitor should take a loss. You know, he is highly motivated to rectify that situation, you know, to get that win back. So, you know, it's going to have to take more than just beating Ian. He's going to have to beat all these guys. But I think he's got the tools to do it. I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen. Like I said, I picked, you know, on paper, William is still my favorite. But Steve is a very dangerous guy going into the show.
You know what? I agree with you on that one, because proportionate speaking, because if you look at it, he's the biggest of the show.
Yeah.
He's the biggest guy. I mean, he's the biggest guy, you know.
He's 6 foot tall. He was 209 pounds on
he was
stage.
290 on the show. 290 on the show. So let's say he's 285 or 280, whatever number it's going to be.
He'll be smaller, yeah.
He's not small, you know. And like you said, he has the ability to make other big guys small. And you know what? Ian won that show in Texas, was great. Ian is a big guy. And besides Steve, Ian did not look as big as he is because of that's what it is. So big, and Ian is not a small guy.
No, he's about what Ian's like 5'10".
He's 5'10", and he's about and he competes in a I would say the mid 250s, which is big.
He told me he was 257 at the show, which is the same weight. So 5'10", 257. That's Dorian Yates at 1993 Olympia. And I'll say this about Ian, and I said this when I was talking to Justin Miller in the last interview I did with him. Ian is, you know, I've always heard about how seeing Dorian Yates in person, if you never saw him in person, you really don't know how impressive he was. That's how I felt with Ian. Ian, when I saw him that close up, I was second row, and as he was hardening up, especially during finals, and the pose down, even hitting that shot that he hits like this with the obliques, serratus muscles shredded. He is super impressive when he is that hard, that shredded. You see every little vein under the skin. You see all the fibers of every muscle. He's freakish. He's very good. So if he is as good as he was in Texas and a little better, he's another guy that could win this show.
And you know what? Honestly speaking, you know what? He has a great year. And this guy has backed up everything he said. Yeah. He went to Texas. People told him not to go, blah, 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 for whatever BS reason. Yeah. And he got there in Kuklo country, and he won that show. And you know what? As he said, he gets better as he's doing shows.
Yeah.
Ian, to me, he's going to make for call out for sure. Yeah. You know what? Here's my question. I want to see Ian and Sergio one beside the other.
Yes.
To really know exactly what's going on.
Sergio's another guy.
Exactly.
He could win this show. Sergio, you know, he's one of the most interesting guys in bodybuilding today. Personality-wise, his history, and his physique. I mean, to me, when he is on, he's super complete. There's no part of his body that's missing. You can't say he's got a weak this or a weak that. No. People used to say his arms were weak. I'm like, compared to what?
Yeah, huge arms.
He looks great. He if he is on, because he's got great separation to his muscles, nice roundness, no weak parts. When it comes to presentation, he is top notch. This guy can pose his ass off, and he's got charisma on stage. I said this before. I've talked about how I watched him take the New York Pro away from John De La Rosa, who was winning I had him winning at prejudging at finals. Man, Sergio just came on so strong. He wanted that win so bad. He took that win. He's a force of nature when he wants to be. And he's another guy who could win the show. Last year, he placed fifth. I had him third. I had him and Rami flip-flopping places.
Okay.
With Steve staying at fourth. Rami was big and everything, but he was not as conditioned and as proportioned. To me, Rami is not unbeatable. A lot of guys can beat Rami, in my opinion. A lot of guys can beat him.
If Rami's a bit off, yeah.
Yes.
If
he's on, it's hard to beat him because he's a freak. Yeah.
And you know about Sergio, like before we go, you know what? There's something historical of him winning the Arnold. There's a story right there. If Sergio Oliva can win the Arnold, that's history right there.
Exactly. It's huge. Yeah.
It's huge because just last year when Arnold gave him the best poser award, that was something.
Yes.
And for Sergio to win that show, because I'm sure, you know what? I'm sure the Olympia is important for him, like everybody else. But I'm sure that winning the Arnold is something special.
Yes.
I agree. Something about that show.
If I had to go down, I didn't talk about Nick Walker. Nick Walker.
Him.
He's okay. No.
He's all right. Right.
Nick, I'm really excited to see him next to these guys, top-notch talent. Nick hasn't stood next to top Olympians yet.
No.
But he's going to at the show. I have a feeling he's going to do very, very well. If Nick Walker were to win the show, I would not be like, it wouldn't be unheard of, or it wouldn't be crazy to me. He's huge. He's conditioned. He's got a great coach in Matt Jansen. I know how determined he comes off. Some people think he's cocky. I just think he's very confident. And confident. Yes, he has every right to say that he can win this Arnold Classic and that he can win the Olympia. He has every right to say that and to believe it in his heart. And if I would dare say that makes him even that much more dangerous if he truly believes it. And I think he does. So, I think he's a viable possible winner.
You know what, Nick? Oh my God, Nick can win. You know what? When Nick wins that show, the momentum is getting to go. You're looking at a guy who was on his sophomore year, wins the New York Pro, wins and probably wins the Arnold. You win the top two of the three biggest shows at the Olympia. That puts you in a very, very good spot at the Olympia. We're talking top four there. Yeah.
I would say that this year's New York Pro was, historically, it's the biggest show other than the Arnold.
Yeah.
This year really wasn't because of COVID. More talent later on. But yes, the guy who I want to see him sitting next to, because he's a shorter guy. Nick is not super tall. I want to see him next to William Bonac. Just to see those two guys next to each other. You have mature muscle, and then you have younger muscle. I want to see if there's a noticeable difference in density. I don't know that there will be. Probably from the back. Nick's back.
Nick's back
big,
is good.
But the nooks and crannies aren't nearly as deep as Williams. That's going to come in a couple years.
It's going to be something. Because you know what? Size-wise, Nick is bigger.
Yeah.
That's for sure. William has better flow, even though Nick's flow is not bad.
Yes.
It's very good.
People talk all the time. They talk trash when I put pictures up of him about, his waist is wide. I'm like,
no, it's not.
Okay, yeah, but how about Jay Cutler? Jay Cutler, people said the same thing about. Jay Cutler won 3 Arnolds and 4 Mr. Olympias. So I don't care. He's wide where he needs to be too. So
exactly, that's it. And that's gonna be good. But you know what? I'm happy for Nick. There's no what. As I was listening somewhere else, with Nick, how the hype is true.
Yeah.
Sometimes we hype up people, and a lot of them do not live up to the hype. We've been hyping. This guy has been hyped for the last 2 years, 3 years now. and now he's delivering, and in a big way. So you know what? For him to stand next to William, and we know for a fact he's not gonna look stupid next to these guys.
None of them. No, not at all. Yes.
No, not of them.
He might make some guys look stupid. In fact,
gonna make them look stupid. Oh, for sure. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Because you're talking from the back. His back double bicep is something else.
Yeah, it is.
The hamstring that moves. It's something else.
And honestly, that's why when people talk about his waist being wide, when he hits that shot, he's got a good beat. Yeah. So guys who I think Rully Winkler, we didn't talk about Rully. I just don't know. Rully has kind of this year seemed to taken a couple steps back.
Rully, we'll see. Rully, I mean, Rully's coming in. It's like you can't count him out though. You can't count him out. It's Rully Winkler.
Yes, you're right. If he looks much different than he has at the last two shows, it's possible he can do really, really well. But
you have to do better than that. You have to do better.
Yeah. Even the show that he placed, that qualified him for the Olympia, he placed second in to Nathan. Who Nathan looked like Nathan. He didn't look like anything different or better than Nathan's ever looked, which is not to say he didn't look good. He looked like a great bodybuilder. But Rully should beat Nathan. If we're talking about the Rully of 2018.
Of 2018, yeah, I know. But the thing is, will he beat the Rully of 2018 again? We don't know. That's the thing. I don't know, because that show, I mean, the Arnold is, wow. It's, even for Rully, normally we would say Rully would win the show. And you know what? I don't see Rully winning.
No.
Yes, okay. You see how bodybuilding is? In 2018, if we had that discussion, we would have won. You know what? Rully's winning.
Yes.
But you know what? Historically speaking, Rully is not great at the Arnold.
Yes, he's a little off usually at the Arnold. But he comes in, but what he's not anymore is on those shows when he was off and he was still placing third, fourth, or whatever at the Arnold. He was enormous back then. And now he's not quite that same size. The legs are down in size, at least they were earlier this year.
Yeah.
Rully, I remember going into the Chicago Pro, we were like, it's his show. And then who else is going to be second? And he ended up placing fourth, right?
Fifth.
Yeah.
He got fifth in Chicago. He got fifth. He got beat by Brandt, by Hassan. No, sorry, Mohammed, and all these guys. He got fifth that show.
Yeah.
And I remember, and I remember vividly, there was a lineup with him, Hassan, and Mohammed. And you know what? Normally, Rully would have creamed these guys on size, but he looked like the smallest guys between the three.
Right, Mohammed beat him, didn't he?
Mohammed beat him. Yeah. Shaban beat him. Shaban beat him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wish Mohammed was in this show, but I guess he's doing the Olympia, right? Yeah, he's qualified.
He's doing it.
Okay, it's probably good that he took a little bit more of a break for it. Yeah.
Wow, for sure. I mean, my question is Hassan Mustafa. This guy has been getting air miles. I don't know what, but he has done every show.
Yes. Now I saw him at the Texas Pro. That guy is a freak. Literally has to walk around his quads. They're so big. Like he's enormous. Again, he was okay. His conditioning was okay at the Texas Pro. It was maybe his best yet, but still was far from the best of the guys that were on the stage.
No.
It's a shame because man, he's a freak who could do as well as Rully did in the past if he nailed it.
You know what? Honestly speaking, if that guy, because we've been saying that the whole year with Hassan, if that guy nailed it for real, he could win the show.
Yeah.
That guy at 100% can win the show. And that guy with the size he has, because honestly, if he comes in 100%, this guy is built for the Olympia because he's a freak. And Olympia is about freaks.
Mm-hmm.
And people would rave about him. the same way we raved about Roy back in the day. Like, you know,
and Ramy too, yeah.
And Ramy too. So it would be like that too. But he needs to come in, and you know what? They have been we probably tried every idea with him, every follow with him, and they always come out the same way. I don't think it's gonna change now, you know. And honestly, I don't see him making first call out. That can be.
Not at the show,
No,
yeah. I don't.
no, not this show. No, not this show. But
how about
go ahead.
Sorry. So what about Big Max Charles? What do you think about him?
Max is great. Max has a very good year. Max got better this year. Max thing is always from the front. He looks amazing. And this year, he looked great this year. But now this lineup is so deep. Max, even though Max really made improvements, will it be enough to offset guys like Ian, like Steve, like William, like Nick, like Sergio? I mean, the lineup is, I just named 5 guys right there. And you know what? And no disrespect to Max. Max looks amazing, but man, Max's best was 3rd place when he did Tampa, right? 3rd place.
Yeah.
And in a lineup not as deep.
Yeah.
And Max looked great at that show.
Yeah, Max is very impressive. Like you said, from the front, he's amazing. I think he's improved from the side and back. And the thing is, you know, his legs have improved in size. He has made great improvements. This year, he was at his best. I agree.
Yes.
Conditioning just from the lower part of his back down, sometimes it's just not 100%. And it's bizarre because from the front, he's usually the most conditioned guy. One of the top 3 conditioned guys in any show he's ever been in.
Oh, yeah. Because his abs they come out of steel. Like, you see, like, they come out. It's unbelievable.
This is a guy, you know, if, like, talking to Justin Miller, we were talking about how it's not, you know, you could say, oh, that guy should definitely won the show, but that's the guy I wish I looked like. And Max Charles is that kind of guy who, like, man, if I could have if I could have his upper body.
Oh my God.
It's amazing. The delts, those arms, his abs.
Humongous.
Yeah. He's great. But like, I don't see him. It's going to be really hard for him to make the top 6 of the show. It's not impossible that he could make 6 or so, but it's going to be really hard.
It's going to be hard.
If I had to, again, if a gun was put to my head and I had to pick the top 6.
Go ahead.
I'm going to pick who I would have to pick as the winner, William Bonac. After that, I don't know about the order of this. I'm just going to pick 5 other guys who I think will be in the top. William is my choice as the most probable winner. Then let's go down the line here. I don't think Max Charles. I don't think Seung Choo Lee. I don't think.
He's good, though. That guy, you know, Seung Choo Lee he's good. He's good.
He's good.
I mean, he's good. He has great talent, but go ahead.
Mohammed El Iman, I don't see him in the top 6. Steve Kuklo, I see in the top 6. Hassan Mustafa, I don't see in the top 6. Sergio Oliva Jr., yes. Justin Rodriguez, it's a possibility, but with this lineup, I'm going to go with Ian Valier, Nick Walker, and Akeem Williams making my top 6.
I got the same thing as you.
Those guys are amazing, and anyone, it could be in any order of those top 6. Any of those guys can win the show. I still think Williams got the best chance of it.
I think so too. And you know what? About Justin Rodriguez, let's say of all the other guys, if someone of our picks, because I like the same picks as you, doesn't really come as good, Max could come in.
Yep.
As a 6th place guy. If somebody, it can come in. That's the guy I would say, like the odd man out, he could come in. Yeah. You know, but if all things Yeah.
I think even ahead of Rolly Winkler, because I just don't think.
Oh my God, we forgot Rolly.
Yeah, I'm not going to put him in my top 6.
Oh my God!
It's possible. I won't be. I wouldn't be like, wow, I can't believe Rolly made top 6. But those guys, like I said, he was beaten by a number of guys in Chicago. He was not in Chicago, but at the Chicago Pro. He was beaten by Nathan in Spain. And Nathan, to me, was, like I said, he looked like Nathan. He didn't look like a new version, more spectacular version of Nathan that we've never seen before. So I just don't see him. I mean, it's possible he could make it into the top 6.
Oh my God. Because know what you're saying now? Now what you're saying now is that Rolly will barely make top 10 at the Olympia. I mean, that's what I mean. You know what? On that one, I'll tell you what, okay. Your top 6 is awesome, and I like it. And I at the same top 6. And you know what? If we're going where's Rolly, is because the top 6 we got is so good that you can almost forget about Rolly.
Yeah.
And that's how good the show is. And you know what? Because Rolly has to come back as the Rolly of 2018. If it was that guy, we would be talking him against William. No doubt.
Oh, no doubt. Yes. No doubt.
No doubt. But he hasn't come in the way. He got better against Nathan, but it's not the Rolly of home.
I didn't really watch the show. I saw pictures and stuff. I know people were saying things that they had him in 3rd or 4th in that show, that they thought he was given a gift in that show. Wow. I don't know. Okay. I don't know.
Okay, so, but I'll go with your top 6. Your top 6 is honestly, you know what? It's a great top 6.
I'm just gonna.
I hope you go ahead.
I'm just gonna quickly go through fitness and bikini.
Yes.
Really quickly.
Yes,
just name the names. But these are the girls in fitness: Jacqueline Baker, Darian Borello, Amanda Ciani, Oksana Gershina, Whitney Jones, Sally Kendall Williams, Ariel Kadar, Mina Pajulati. She's new. This is her debut there, I think. Missy Truscott and Erika Tiergal. I mispronounced her name. She's very artistic. Oh, her routines are always sort of surreal and kind of strange. But if I had to pick, I think Jacqueline Baker is going to be one of the top girls. Oksana, of course. Whitney, Ariel.
Yes.
Ariel's amazing. And then I'm going to pick Missy Truscott to win the show. And I think that those other girls I mentioned will be the top 5. I don't know enough about the other girls to pick a 6th one. But
I think Missy.
Yeah, I think Missy will take it.
Yeah.
But, Oksana and Whitney, they're amazing as well. They're legends. But I think girls like Ariel and Jacqueline Baker are coming up, so I wouldn't be surprised. Top.
Absolutely, yeah.
In bikini, this show is really stacked. It's amazing talent. It's Olympia level without the reigning Miss Olympia, who isn't going to be at the Miss Olympia either. I don't think. We have Romina Basualdo.
Romina. Okay, yes, I know.
Top girl. Laura Lee.
Yes.
Jennifer Dory, Jasmine Gonzalez, who I've seen. I think she's really good as well. Ashley Kaltwasser.
Yes.
Jordan, I don't know how she pronounces her name. Lee. Priscilla linebacker, who she did really well last year.
Yes.
Brianna Martinez, Gabriella Messias, and Isa Pacini, the reigning champion. She won the Arnold Classic last year. If I'm gonna pick my top, let's see, it might only be 5, but Issa, and not in any particular. Yeah, so Laura Lee, Issa, Jennifer, Ashley Caldwalser.
Yes.
And I'm gonna put this Jasmine Gonzalez in my top 5. I think she's really good. She's a younger girl, very good physique. I like her a lot. She's got a lot of energy too, spunk on the stage. So that's my top 5.
Could Ashley win again?
Yes.
Oh
I wouldn't be surprised. The girls who I think will be in the top 4, I put Jasmine in my top 5. I think she will be 5th. My top 4 are Issa, Laura Lee, Jennifer Dory, and Ashley Caldwalser. And I think between those 4, it could go in any order. I wouldn't be surprised.
No. And you know what? Ashley is such on a tear. Ashley, you know what? I'm thinking probably we should check on that. Does she have the best season ever of any IFBB pros on the number of wins?
That's a good question. I think she won 7 shows this year.
She won 7 shows because to my knowledge, Kevin in 1 year. Hold on, it's Kevin or Dexter. They have, I think, 7 or close to 7, if I'm not mistaken, in 1 year.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the record, but in the shows that she didn't win, I think she placed 2nd twice. I mean, and the last show that she placed 2nd in, she placed 2nd to Erin Stern, who former Miss Olympia in fitness. Figure. I didn't see that show, but I saw lots of pictures, and I had Ashley winning the show. I think it was. I mean, I don't know. She's already in the Olympia now. Erin Stern got to be.
Yeah, she's good.
And Erin Stern looked great. Nothing against her, but I thought Ashley looked like the winner to me. Ashley is a girl who I think can still win the Olympia. Like she's very,
why not?
Very good. She
win 7 shows.
Yeah, she listens to the judges too. She makes changes when she has to, and yeah, she's great. She's not an old woman. She's still young. Got a lot of time ahead of her, I think. Such a great competitor. She's so competitive. She's made a living winning shows this year, and
good for her.
Yeah, she's awesome. I like her too as a person. She's super nice. And when I spoke to her, I think I said this before in another show, speaking to her backstage at the Texas Pro, she had thought she was coming up to Dexter's record. And I said, what number win was this backstage? And she said, I was 29. I said, no, you've tied Dexter's record. So you have the record of the most wins in the IFBB history. And she immediately said, oh yeah, but what I do is nothing compared to what Dexter Jackson has to do. So she had the humbleness. She's like, the bodybuilders do so much more work than I have to do. So I respected that she wasn't like, yeah, I'm just as good as Dexter,
No, she's good.
Yeah.
And you know what, Ashley, you know what, honestly, when you win 7 shows, that does make you a top contender to win.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, and Laura Lee too. Laura Lee won 2 shows this year.
She won a show last weekend.
Yeah,
she won a show last weekend. Yeah. I'm telling you, and you know what?
Jennifer Dory also is just amazing. Yeah, it's going to be, and then Issa won a show. She beat all those girls. Not Ashley wasn't in the show, but she beat Laura Lee. She beat Jennifer Dory. When I still believe that when Issa Pacini when she nails it, she's almost unbeatable. Her proportions are just crazy.
Yes, it makes sense.
Yeah, I think she's amazing. But it's going to be a great show. Any of those 4, I think, could win it.
Yeah.
So, anything else that you want to add to this? Is there? I think.
My God, I mean, you know what? I think we covered everything. You know what? I liked it. You know what? Because it's a good prelude for the Olympia.
Yeah.
And the Olympia is going to.
It's going to tell you to expect at least.
At least
2 weeks later, yes. Of course, 2 weeks from now, we have the two guys who are probably the favorites to win the Olympia in the Olympia. That's the last two Mr. Olympias. Big Ramy and Brandon Curry. I think they have to be considered the favorites.
Yeah, but you know what? Watch out for Adi. Adi is to me, and you know what? And we've talked about it. Adi coming in a month before is something, because you know what, now he's gonna be able to acclimate himself to everything and all that. And you know what I like? I don't know if you saw that post on Instagram. Him and Derek Lunsford were training together.
I was watching that, yes.
Yeah. You know
Derek
what?
is also going to be very dangerous.
Derek's look good. He looks good. You know what? Oh my God. Derek this year with Ani behind him, I'm not saying he's winning, but Derek is more dangerous now than he was before.
Absolutely. Without a doubt. You have a guy who's had 19
Olympians. Yeah.
Between men and women, multiple divisions, from men's physique to open men's bodybuilding, winning multiple he knows what he's doing for sure. And Derek's got all the physical talent in the world. So that'd be really interesting.
And it reminds me of, you know what, before we finish, of when I'll give you the parallel, when Sean Wooden started to come out of the woodworks, you know, he wasn't good. It's when he connected with Chris Aceto. That's when he became Flexatron that we know, because he was going into shows now, not doing anything good. And sometimes, you know what? Sometimes a great athlete needs to connect with a coach, and things just go great.
Yeah. Yes. And, you know, I thought for Derek that after last year, I thought he should definitely go men's open, because
I still think that.
Get down to 12, I thought he looked depleted. He didn't have the pop to his muscle. But, and I said this to Phil, that I thought maybe it was a mistake. And he kind of told me, don't think that, don't worry, that Hani's got enough tricks up his sleeves that he's going to be able to bring Derek in at 212 and very, very full. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, you disappeared, Greg. Oh, well, looks like I lost Greg. Anyway, we were at the end anyway. So guys, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. For right now, this is Michael Bryson. That was Greg Ulysse. And this is Bodybuilding. Take care, guys.